Hey guys, this is Philip Brown with Box Out Basketball, coming to you live with Miss Deja Mattox. How you doing today?
I'm feeling great. How are you?
Great, great, great. We just got done with the Clippers camp. We were up here at John Burroughs High School up in Burbank, getting it in, getting it in. What do you think about the camp so far?
I think it was fun and exciting. I think tomorrow will really set the tone, though, since it's the last day. It's been great, though, so far. Can't complain.
Championship day tomorrow.
Yep.
Cool deal, cool deal. So tell everybody where you're from, a little bit about your family history growing up. Did your parents play ball or whatnot?
Okay, so I grew up in a small town called Peru, and it's in Indiana. So Peru, Indiana, it's very...
Where's that close to?
That's close to Kokomo. Yeah, it's close to nowhere. It's pretty much in the middle of the cornfield. So I grew up there. My parents still married.
Awesome.
They were really great people. I don't know. It was definitely not... I didn't grow up in a basketball-oriented family.
Mm-hmm.
My dad played baseball a little bit growing up in high school, and that was really it. My mom was a cheerleader. She did some cheerleading in Germany. That was pretty much it, but not really the most, basketball-savvy family. But my dad was a huge Michael Jordan fan, so that really did
So
help.
that set the tone a little bit.
Absolutely.
So, talking about that, so how'd you get introduced to basketball, and what age did you get introduced?
So
Besides the Michael Jordan.
Right. So I was about 10. I never started out like just loving basketball in the beginning. I was more of a softball player, but so I was trying to hang out with my brother, who's my older brother. He's 3 years older than me, and basically I wasn't cool. Yeah, I wasn't cool enough to hang out with him.
Right.
So
I
hated that. I hated that. So one day, my mom made me go with him. She's like, take your sister. And we went down the street, and they were playing basketball. And they were like, why don't you let your sister play? He was like, man, she don't play basketball. And they're like, let her shoot. And I was like, and I stepped up, and they passed me the ball, and I shot a layup, and I made it. And like I didn't even really play, so it was like a big deal for me. I was like, oh my gosh. They're like, see, she's good. In front of all
the cool kids.
In front of all of my brother's friends. So he felt stupid because they were like, see, like let her play with us. And I wasn't good or anything, but it really like made me fall in love with the game just because it was something that like made me cool enough to hang out with my older brother.
Right. So that really struck your love for it, and also made you competitive and wants to get into it more and get better, so you can actually get out there and play with them and everything.
Yeah.
So, talk about like your first school experience, or like the first time you got on a team. When was the first time you joined a basketball team?
As far as the basketball team, it was sixth grade.
Okay.
But because I was so athletic, they actually asked me to play with the eighth graders.
Ooh.
So, which was crazy because even though I wasn't that great, I put a lot of work in. My dad pretty much forced me to, to get better because once he realized I love basketball, it like completely changed everything. Everything was about basketball. He was trying to take me to practice. He wanted me to get a trainer. Like it was so serious. And once I joined a team, I remember it was an hour and a half away in Anderson, and it was a good AAU team, but he wanted me to play with them because I would get so much better. Well, on the way there, because he knew that I wasn't a basketball player yet, so he said, Deja, if you don't make this team, don't cry.
Right.
Like I'll always remember him saying that because it was like
took the pressure off.
Yeah, it was like, okay, like don't worry about it because they're better than what my skill level is. So I started out playing with them, called Queens of the Court. My coach Sim Lacey is still like a big part of my life.
Awesome.
And he's a great coach.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it started off me being the third string. I mean, completely just really like one of the worst players on the team, and then building myself up over the years, I became a starter, and then lo and behold, college scholarship.
That's what's up. So what about your high school career? Did you want to jump into that a little bit? You went to ninth grade. Did you start varsity? Were you one of those people that like developed from that sixth grade year and you just put in a ton of work, and then by the time you got to high school, you were a varsity starter, or what's your story in high school?
Yeah, so again, since I'm from a small town, it was a little bit of a struggle because where I'm from is actually pretty much completely Caucasian. And it was I went through a lot of stuff. I went through a lot of adversity. I ended up transferring schools. So sixth grade, I went to a completely different school called Mechanical High School. There I did get better. My middle school team, we went undefeated for my 7th and 8th grade year, so we never lost. And yeah, I did start as a freshman in high school, and it was a transition because of my ethnicity.
Right.
But, you know, I didn't let that hold me back. And it was kind of like a cliquish country school. So, I mean, you know, everybody goes through things. I think it made me stronger. I still
Right.
appreciate, you know, what I went through. But I made basketball my life. I didn't my parents didn't let me do anything really other than play basketball and do my homework.
Right.
So I was, you know, made really good grades. Didn't get to party, didn't get to socialize with my friends, but I mean, that meant everything to me, because my dad always said, either you are going to work at McDonald's or you're going to get a college scholarship and go off to college.
Right.
So that meant a lot to me. So I worked my butt off all the time. I didn't have any type of social life.
So how important was it, looking back on it, to understand the work ethic that your parents put into you? Like, how important is that now that you're an adult and you're looking back on those type of values that they put into you?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything, especially with my dad, because he didn't play, you know, a sport professionally. He never got that chance. So it was almost as if he was living through me in a way.
Right.
My mom wasn't really a huge fan of it. So if say, for example, if I didn't have my dad in my life, I probably would have never been where I got to at all. My mom was more of a cheerleader, like, oh, you did good. And my dad's like, no, you missed this free throw. You could have, you know, guarded her better. He pointed out all the little things, but that, you know, is the reason why I got to play where I played at. Like, it means so much to me. It means everything. And like, knowing how much hard work, looking back, I'm like, wow, I really put in a lot of work, but it paid off. So that's why I always try to tell kids that are, you know, working out, it's like, no, this will pay off, even though you don't feel the difference today, or
it's not a day-to-day thing.
Yeah, it's not a day-to-day thing. It takes a long time, just like farmers. Like, where I'm from is farming.
Right.
You have to take care of the soil. You have to fertilize it. You have to do all kinds of things. You have to get rid of the bugs. There's so many things that happen. Little things every day.
They add up at the end of the day.
Wake up at 4 a.m. The kids I went to school with were farmers. So if you put that in perspective, it makes complete sense with the sport, because
Right.
it takes a long time for the cornfield to grow. It takes a long time for the beans to go. Like, it's the same thing with basketball. Like, it wasn't overnight that I just, you know, became a basketball player.
Right.
I was third string. I had to work my way up.
3 years.
3 years just to become good enough to realize, okay, this could be something that can potentially change my life.
Right. Awesome. So, when did you start receiving interest from different colleges, and what colleges did you receive interest from?
So my first letter was ironically Indiana State in 8th grade. So
Okay, shout out Larry Bird, right?
Yes, shout out Larry Bird. Even though he didn't come to any of my games. It's all right. But yeah, he no, I got my first letter in 8th grade, and that was like really crazy. So the funny thing is, once I received one letter, I started getting so many, and every day it was like a race between me and my dad to get to the mailbox.
Wow.
Like, it was really like a race. Like, we would really like race each other. Sometimes he would open my mail, and I was like, just to read the letter, see if, you know, what they were asking for. And I'm like, you can't open my mail.
Just excited as you are.
Yeah, he was so excited. He would rip open all these envelopes. But I had a box, like a huge plastic box, to store all my letters. And it was crazy, because I didn't want to go through that process at all, because it was just overwhelming. So many options and so many coaches. And
so, yeah, speak to that to the younger generation that are, you know, maybe going through college recruiting process now, getting ready to go through it. Like, how did you navigate your way through it, and how did you take your college visits and all of that stuff? Talk about your experience, your recruiting experience.
I was a hot mess when it came to my recruiting experience. I wanted it to be over. It was so bad to the point where I would be like, okay, do you guys have a number 13 already? Like, I was just trying to narrow it to the dumbest thing ever, because I just did not want to go through it. And I would say take your time, because for me personally, like, and most people don't even know this, I committed as a sophomore in high school. I committed to Eastern Michigan, and that was because it was my first college I even visited.
Right.
I didn't think I'd be good enough to go to the big schools that were recruiting me. I didn't think I'd be good enough for Michigan.
Right.
I didn't think I'd be good for University of Miami. But they were calling me, asking me to come to their camps. But it's like, I felt like if I was good enough, they would just offer me. Like, I didn't feel like I'd have to prove myself.
Right?
I didn't understand the process.
Right,
because
that's a big thing.
Yeah, I never had anybody in my circle that had been through that before.
Right.
So
Same
it's like,
me,
my family didn't, my dad didn't know, you know.
Right.
So he's like, okay, I support whatever you want to do. But at the same time, he's like, okay, I want you to go to Louisville. But we go to Louisville on a visit, but they didn't offer me. So it's like frustrating to me, because I'm like, now I have to wait another year, probably go to their camp and then play. But it's like, you know, I don't regret the decision I made with Indiana State. And, going back to how that happened. So I had committed to Eastern Michigan as a sophomore. Wanted to get that process out the way. It was a verbal commitment, obviously. But I decided to change my mind because Susie Merchant ended up going to coach Michigan State. And she had made it seem as if, oh, we'll bring you with. Yeah, you're coming with me.
Right.
Because you can play at any school. You know, coaches will tell you anything and everything to get you with them. But then, you know, there's at the end of the day, it's a business. There's no loyalty. So don't expect for there to be a real commitment with any of that.
Right.
So once, you know, we contacted her and she said, no, I'm still looking at other people. I was like, okay, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to Eastern Michigan. I only want to go there because the coach seemed great. And Indiana State hit me up and they, I mean, were everything. When I went to campus, met the coach, I met the players, and it was even on a holiday. So, like, it's crazy what they went through just to show me that they wanted me. And I knew right away I'd start as a freshman in college, so that was a huge deal for me. I wanted playing time. I didn't want to go anywhere and sit the bench because that's not what I put in all that work for.
Right, and wait for like, 2-3 years for somebody to graduate or whatnot.
I don't have the heart
or
for that.
Shirt.
I couldn't handle that.
Right.
Like, I have to play. Like, I'm one of those people that it's like, I'll do whatever I got to do to be on the court, but I want to make sure that I'm there.
Right.
Like, it means something to me. Like, I love the sport of basketball. And,
you want to play.
You know, I wanted to play. So Indiana State really did their thing on my visit, and my coach was amazing. So, yeah, I ended up going with them. But I had I went to different schools. I went to a couple of different visits.
Right.
But I try to get over that whole process as quickly as possible.
So how far is that away from your hometown? Because I know some people say they need to get away from their hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you didn't feel that way, or what was the situation?
You know, it's crazy. Terre Haute is 3 hours away from my hometown, which is
just
like enough. Yeah, just enough space for me. As far as with my parents, I'm a huge family-oriented person. So I wanted them there. I wanted them to be able to experience, you know, my experience with me so that they could come to my home games. So they, you know, would drive the 3 hours every home game to see me. So that was huge for me. I didn't want to go too far because I knew I'd be homesick. And especially the way I grew up, I was in a sheltered home. My dad was really strict. So I was used to them. I'm hanging out watching movies with my parents instead of going partying with all my friends. So I was used to them being around anyway. So I didn't feel like it was a huge thing where I was like, okay, I got to get rid of them. I still wanted them to be around, but I didn't want to see them all the time. So 3 hours was that perfect like cushion for me.
Awesome. So let's talk about your college experience. You say you came in as a freshman, jumped right in, did your thing, took a starting position, or you already kind of had one that was there?
It was already pretty much lined up. Like the coach told me, and I could actually genuinely trust my coach.
Right.
And Coach Weedy, he was really good, and he let me know right away, like, you will be starting here, you will be a big deal.
It's what's expected of you.
Yeah, what is expected. I don't expect you to come out here and get like 2 points. I want you to really be one of our best players. So I knew I had to put the work in, and I knew that it would be a big role to fill.
I was about to ask that. So did you feel the pressure on you, or how did you deal with the pressure and all of that?
Honestly, I didn't feel it until I
did your thing?
Yeah, well, a little bit of both. So I didn't feel the pressure until I stepped foot on campus, and I was like, this is real. Yeah. This is real. Like, you could either ruin this or make this the best thing ever that you've experienced. So when I got there, I had already trained with my trainer a lot and was in shape, and I was ready to go. But it's mental. The biggest thing with going to school as a freshman is mental.
You're starting over at the bottom of the totem
You're starting
pole.
over. But then it was like I wasn't, I knew I was a starter. So I was like, I'm good enough to be here. But it's just knowing inside your head, like, you got this. Like, don't stress out. Just knowing that at each workout, you have to go 100%. Like, it's not like I could take this day off, this day off. No, because somebody will take your spot. Like, it wasn't even a.
So it's like a job now. Like, you got to think of it like, all right, I need this. Like, 100%. If I want to start, like, it's not the same competition as high school. It's a different level of competition. Each year they're bringing in new girls that are trying to take your spot.
Oh yeah, and they want me. Even my roommate wanted my spot. So it was really like interesting how you have to transition
the dynamic,
to it. Yes, real quick, because there's no, it's a business. Like, you can't think of it like, oh, this is like a hee ha ha. No, you got to put in the work. And that's numerous workouts a day. You got 6 a.m. weights, you got individuals after that, you got class. Then in between that, we may have a practice. I put in extra work. I would go play with the guys in the rec center, which my coach, once they found out about that, didn't really like that too much because I could have got hurt. But I was in there getting better, faster, stronger, jumping. I was in there putting in work. But you know what? It's crazy because my freshman year, I actually tore my ACL. That was my first super major injury. Wow. And I tore that, and me and 4 other girls did. So 3 of us were starters, Wow. So it was really crazy.
Rough year.
Yeah, real rough.
So quickly before we jump into the ACL and everything, I wanted to talk about, I noticed you mentioned a couple times about some type of self-doubt that you had in yourself. I know a lot of people do feel that, like that type of self-doubt. What type of keys do you have to get over that, and what type of advice do you have to somebody that's feeling some type of self-doubt right now? Like, what do you want to say to that person? Or what would you say to a younger you that was doubting yourself at that time?
Wow, that's a good question. So a younger me, I would definitely say just believe in yourself and look at all the little things that you went through to be here. And, you are you. You are what makes you you, and nobody can take that away from you. It's more of, I had to kind of find kind of like a hero in a way. I always loved Tamika Catchings. Like, the whole knee pads thing, I would wear knee pad. Like, I always looked up to her defense,
Right.
everything. So it's like you kind of have to find someone that you'd like to emulate, like somebody you look up to, somebody that is a positive.
To be.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if they can do it, and even research, kind of like if you find someone that's like, oh, I like the way they do this, I like the way they do that, kind of try to look up a bio about them and see they've been through something. I guarantee you. So you're not the only one. You're not the only one. So don't ever think that you're alone. And I think that's where some athletes lose sight, and they think that they're by themselves and they can't talk to anybody about it. No, like you could always talk to other athletes and like, hey man, like what did you do about this? Like, how did you get better on this? Like, it's kind of like you have to let go of the negative energy and try to accept the positive in your life. And I know it's hard and it's easier said than done, but even in camp, like, there's so much negativity. Once one person starts talking negative,
Right.
It spreads like wildfire.
Like a cancer, a virus.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not good. So you always have to think of, I mean, even somebody that's thinking about, negative stuff right now, write down 5 things that you love about yourself and read that over. Anytime you have a negative thought, just read over that and think of, man, like, this is true. Like, I do think about others before me. Like, I am, I have all these blessings. Like, I'm out here in California. You
Right.
kind of just think about all the good things that are going on in your life and channel that instead of the negative things that are so temporary. This too shall pass. Like, that means so much. Like, people
Right.
really need to take that into account.
People say that, like, the more things you think negatively, the more that you see negative things. So if you think
Yes.
positively, like, the things that you see in the world would be more positive, so you'll be drawn to that.
Absolutely. And personally, I don't watch the news. I don't want to see
Right.
negative stuff like that. So that's just something that I know that I do personally. So even self-help books, they're out there. They're amazing. Just try not to think so negatively, people.
Right. Spread some positivity.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to jump from that
Yeah.
back to what we were talking about the ACL and that whole, like, a major injury type of thing, where your mindset was, how do you stay positive, how do you rehab from that, and then, continue with the rest of your college career.
Okay, sure. So when I tore my ACL January 9th, I felt like the world ended. Honestly,
This was before conference or
This was
beginning of
before.
conference?
Yeah,
So you
this
didn't
was
even get into
before.
conference play yet.
No,
Freshman year.
Yeah, freshman year. So we were, it's just like, and as a starter, it was a huge deal for me. Like, I really didn't know what to expect or what to think, but I really was so down that I called my parents and, well, actually they were at the game. It was a home game. They were at the game, but it was just, I didn't know what to do. Like, it's like no one tells you how to prepare for an injury
Right.
like that, because it's like I knew that it takes 6 months to recover. That's a long freaking time.
Right.
And you're on crutches, you got to rehab. But the rehab
It's a
was
grind.
the worst.
The rehab
Oh
is a
my goodness.
grind.
But you have to listen to everything the doctors and trainers tell you, because if not, you won't recover 100%, and it's not a good look. So I just made
Did
sure.
you luckily recover to 100%?
I did.
Awesome.
I did. It was my right leg. I had to look because I've torn both my ACLs.
Right.
So my right one, I had a great doctor, Dr. Kluk White. He's the Colts football doctor that
Okay.
does their.
Yeah.
So I mean, I had the best of the best, and it was amazing. Got me through it. A lot of people. But I had boosters writing me, sending me gifts, and just. Being very sweet, like, and it was all eligible. It was all eligible. Like, it wasn't like
what
anything.
kind of gifts were it? Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
No. It was all like, it was like
Right.
cards and stuff. Not like they didn't send me a car or anything like men's basketball.
Get better.
Right. No, they
With a
were
car,
being
huh?
sweet. Yeah, they were being very sweet. So they were just like, come back, fully recover. We can't wait till you're here. And it was just a matter of me. I was really secluded. So I was in my room. I like pretty much just had to rely on myself. And
how did you have your family to support you? You say you were ducked off. I know a lot of times for some people duck off, they kind of, maybe fight like bouts of depression or whatnot. How did you stay so positive? Was it your family or teammates or just believing in yourself in the recovery process?
Yeah, it was more so my teammates. A couple of my teammates I was really close with, so they made sure if I needed something, some of them brought me food. They were really there for me at like the right time. My family was 3 hours away, so they would come up and visit.
Right.
But I mean, I like tried to hide as much as I could of my emotions around them, because I knew that this affected them too. It's like, okay, Deja's hurt. We don't even want to watch the team. Like, it's not that they don't support the team, because they definitely did, but it was like our daughter, like we want to watch her play. So it was a struggle, and I got back to it. So my sophomore year, and the timing that I did it, I couldn't redshirt. So
you had to play too many games.
The cutoff, yeah. So I had to sit out the rest of the season, which was frustrating because I was a starter, and then another freshman actually did end up taking my spot. Mm-hmm. So it's like, dang, I put all that hard work in, and to see me restart over, I made it through. I made it through. So I was good. My sophomore year, junior year, my coach got fired. We got a new coach, and that was another struggle in itself. Dealing with a coach that doesn't like you. I know a lot of people do that, have to go through that, but
how is that? You're 2 years into your college career, and you have a coach that you vibe well, that recruited you, and then you have another coach come in halfway through your college career that didn't recruit you, and you might not fit their system. Like, how do you push through that and fight the temptations to transfer or whatnot? Like, tell us a little bit about that and how you stay positive and remain, about the team and stuff.
Yeah, that's another thing. Our community was so strong with women's basketball for Indiana State that I loved them so much. So the kids that I, sign their shirts, take pictures with after the game, that's seriously the only reason why I stayed at Indiana State, honestly, because I struggled my junior year with the new coach. It was a rough patch for me personally. And I had to stay positive, and I felt kind of alone. But, just with the games themselves, we averaged 4,000 fans a game. So it was like a huge deal. Like, we had more fans than Big Ten women's basketball games. So it was like, I can't leave this and go to something that, like, what can I go from here? So it was more of just believing myself and wanting to finish out and get my degree there, and just be proud to be a tree, really. It's really interesting to think about, like, all the stuff I went through, because once it was done, then I went overseas, and then I tore my other ACL.
Let's talk about that. So you finished out your junior sophomore year, and then you went overseas. Where'd you go?
Yeah, so I went to Luxembourg.
Did you get an agent, or how did that come about? Were agents coming to you, or did you reach out to different agencies?
Yeah, interesting enough, they contacted me through social media. So a lot of them contacted me on Facebook.
Same as me.
But Facebook, it was the filtered messages.
Yeah, so
I didn't see that. Oh my gosh, I didn't see it for like a couple of months. So I wasn't even in Indiana when I ended up seeing it. And then I got my agent. She was referred. Somebody referred me to her, but she had contacted me.
Or where she was from?
She was from overseas.
Okay.
Yeah, she's from Germany.
Gotcha.
So I could trust, a little bit, because my mom's she's part German. So it's crazy how it all goes back to itself, because I'll save that. But but yeah, it's basically, I have a relative through marriage that lived out there, and I ended up meeting her when I went overseas my second time. But it's crazy. So I found my agent Iska, so she had me go to Luxembourg. I was there for a very short time because I tore my ACL in my third game that I was there, and which was really tough.
So it's like back to back, like the beginning of your beginning of your college career. ACL, beginning of your pro career, ACL.
Yep, which was tough because I had promised myself if I quit, or if I tore my second ACL, I'd quit. Like, I was like over basketball, but I tore it and I was crushed. I mean, I had to Skype my parents and tell them.
Right.
Like, that's how I told my parents I was in the hospital. Like, I had to.
So overseas, did they take care of you there? Or
yes, they did take care of me.
Did you stay over there for the rest of the season?
No,
or just until you had surgery? Yeah,
they wanted me to stay out there for the rest of the season, and I kind of got not nice responses from my organization, but things happen the way they happen. I never had any ill will or any negative things to say about them, but there was just a lot of rumors circulating about how I purposely hurt myself, and I came out there and I skipped a practice and went to a birthday party, which all that was a lie. I didn't even know anybody in Luxembourg. Like, I've never been in there in my life. So it was so crazy to hear the rumors. And so they didn't take it too well. They did pay for my surgery. They paid for my rehab. They still had to pay me. I think it was 80% of my salary. Yeah. So it was still like a situation where it's like I could have stayed there, but because they were trying to force me to stay, I kind of panicked a little bit.
And you had just got over injury.
Yeah.
You were new to pro basketball.
Serious. Yeah. And they, we're saying like, oh, we'll keep you from playing again and all this other stuff. Like, people go through it. It's stuff that everybody goes through when they're playing overseas. It's just like,
it's the grind
they try to scare you.
Know,
yeah, they try to scare you, and I didn't listen to it. I ended up moving to Germany for 2 months to rehab, and that's who I ended up staying with. Was the relative through marriage that I mentioned. It was my uncle's ex-wife.
Okay.
So she just had lived out there pretty much her whole life, and she took care of me. She cooked, cleaned, washed my stuff. She was there, and I can never. I don't even know how to thank her. Like, she was really out there for me. I obviously gave her some money for groceries and stuff, but
right. Like, but at the same time, like, that comfort out there that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Right. I don't know what I would have done, because they took my car away, they took my phone away, they moved a UConn basketball player into my apartment because she was replacing me.
Right.
So it's like, what? Like, where was I supposed to live if I didn't have, you know what I'm saying?
Right. You're stuck in a foreign country.
Where would I have lived? Like, I'm recovering from a knee surgery. Like,
you can't really move your stuff. You can't move your bags.
Yeah. But it was crazy. But the surgery itself was good. They did a different procedure. They actually took from my hamstring on that second one. But the doctor was amazing. I really liked him. And it was a quicker recovery, which he did tell me it would be, but I had told him I wanted the patellar procedure again, because I knew what to expect. But this one was actually much faster, and it ended up being good.
That's what's up. Yeah. So then after that, you came back to the States, and then what's the rest of your story? You say you went back overseas another time, right?
Yeah, so I quit for 3 years.
So you only played those 3 games, and then that was the end of your pro career for a minute. And you said you were done.
I was done.
So what were you doing in the meantime, and like, how did you get your ACL back up? You rehabbed it that well?
No, I rehabbed it for 3 months.
Right.
And then I quit.
6 months normally,
I said I was done. I was like, I'm done with basketball. I don't care. I still love it, but I don't want to play it because it's ruined everything. It's ruined my legs are scarred up. Like, I was just hurt. I was just bitter. But I ended up working just regular jobs. So I moved back home to recover for a little bit until I got off crutches. And then I ended up moving to Indianapolis. I worked retail for a little bit, had a high-end retail store. I worked there for 2 weeks, and then I got promoted to a manager. And I was like, wait, this regular stuff, like, I'm like a regular person. But, like, I got promoted so quickly that I was like, wait, if I'm able to do this well, maybe I could do something else better. And they had just opened up an insurance, I don't know if I could say names, but they opened up an insurance company. Yeah, I was going to say their name, but I don't know if I could say their name.
I don't know, man. It's on you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, man.
No, I'm not going to. No LinkedIn. Look it up. Hey. No, I'm just kidding. But they opened up an office, and my dad was like, "Yo, you can make $13,000 more a year if you worked here, and they're opening a new office. You should try to work there." So I'm like, "Oh, I'll see what they're talking about."
Right.
Not knowing anything about insurance. So I ended up working there. So I quit my job after probably a month or 2 of being a manager. Quit my job. Went to this is crazy. Went to work for insurance and worked there. Then I was like, I want to move to California. So I worked there until I got promoted, and then I transferred offices, came to San Diego, California. And that's
what's this time frame? When did you graduate college? And
2012, I graduated college. That's the same time same year I went overseas, tore my ACL. So 2013 was
retail.
when I did retail, and then I started working in insurance. And then in 2014, I spent that whole year working there. And then in 2015, I worked in San Diego.
Right.
So that's when I lived there. loving my life, but I was working all the time, and I'm like, I still miss basketball. Well, yeah.
It's a different grind, though.
It's a different
work
grind.
Is different from
it's
the basketball
so
grind.
different.
Still a lot of
it's
work,
so
but it's different work.
It's a hard transition too, when you know you should be on the court.
But talk about a little bit for the younger generation
Uh-huh.
listening. Talk a little bit about like the work habits and stuff that you developed in sports and how that transitions over to like the business world or like to the work world.
Yeah, so it's a lot of discipline with that, with sport and with regular work, because with work it was kind of like meticulous. It's kind of like repeating itself, and even with basketball, like you're shooting the ball, you're dribbling the ball all the time. So it was kind of like I was used to repetition, I was used to teamwork, and that actually ended up helping me within insurance. But just waking up early, trying to work out before work, and then getting off work. I would work nights, so I worked from 3 to midnight, and I'd come home and be wide awake just because I would just be like,
just off from work.
Yeah, just off from work, and I'd just be thinking, because it was a lot of mental, it was a lot of stress, like high intensity workplace. So I was always thinking like, okay, what can I do that's better? Like I was always wanting to better myself. So it's like having goals in the workplace.
Staying hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, I want to get promoted. I want to get promoted again. Like it's like a kind of like going from the bench to being a starter.
Right.
It's kind of like that. Like I look forward to it.
Grinding.
Yeah.
Working your way up. Yeah.
But it's at the same time I was still working out, and I wanted to hoop. So I'm like, something's missing. Like I felt like something was always missing. And I would come out to LA because me and my best friend from Indiana State, we planned on moving out here together, but we didn't. Like I had a different route, she had a different route, but she was out here, so I drove from San Diego to LA every single weekend.
Yeah.
Every single weekend to keep me sane.
How long is that? 3-hour drive?
It's a 3-hour drive.
For those on the East Coast, 3-hour drive.
Yeah, 3-hour drive, 3.5 without traffic. Honestly, it's probably like 4 hours. Depending, because I would leave, but sometimes I would leave after work and just come hang out for the weekend, enjoy LA. But I
bounce back
more and more. Bounce back because I had to work on Sundays, Sunday through Thursday.
Yeah.
But I had to come out here, and once I realized like how unhappy I was with that and that I wanted to hoop again, I moved out to LA and ended up going to Lithuania to play, like on some random opportunity.
Right. So how was it though? Did it fulfill what you need to be fulfilled? Like you back on the court now, like after 3 years, like thinking your career's over. Like how was that experience over there?
It was so scary because I knew when I went out there, it was, if I didn't do well, they would send me right back home.
Right, it was like a test.
It was definitely a test because they saw that I hadn't played in 3 years, and they were
and
like,
they
this never happens.
Yeah.
This never happens ever. So this is a rare opportunity. My agent, his dad, it was so crazy because he had like NBA clients. His dad was like a big time coach out there, but he was like, I just want to experiment with the women's basketball side just to see. He was like, but I want you to come out here and see what it's like. And he was Lithuanian. So I was like, all right. It was really like a scary thing because I'm like, what if I get kidnapped? Like I didn't know like how legitimate anything was, because anybody can make up websites. Anybody can make up.
Guys think about
it's guys don't think about that, but I think about that.
Okay.
And my dad was on it. Like send me every address, send me everything.
He was on some wanted type.
Yeah, he was on it. So he was really good about it. But yeah, I went out there, and our first game was like a huge test because it was a team that they really wanted to beat. And he said, if you guys win this game, like you're gonna stay here no matter what, like 100%.
Right.
So 10 seconds left in the game, I hit the game winner.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a layup, left-handed layup.
For you to stay, this is like, all right, I'm staying. Like I'm making this, I'm staying.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it was so big. Like I couldn't believe it happened like that. So,
that's crazy. So then you finished up that season, and that was when. So
that was the end. I kind of had my personal reasons. I haven't gone overseas since then. But it was more of like, I thought I was gonna, move in with somebody and get married. So it was kind of like life changed.
Right. It's
lot
crazy
for me.
though.
Yeah. So I didn't want to leave and go overseas and be without that person, and it didn't even end up working out anyway. So I skipped that season. This past season, the market was down. I mean, like girls are going over there for nothing these days.
Right.
So there's no point in me going overseas.
Uprooting your life, for like
uprooting
8-10 months,
for
For
some
pennies.
peanuts. Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much where
Where
I'm
you
at
at
now.
with things now? You still working out? You still trying to, negotiate a contract? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you no announcements yet, but you still working out?
Right, no announcements. Yeah, I'm still working out.
All right. Keeping your game tight?
Yeah, still working out. And that is, I need to get really, really, really back on it now that I'm, juggling a couple of things. Juggling a couple of things, guys.
What is that? Was that announcement coming soon?
That announcement comes soon.
Announcement coming soon. You heard it.
I haven't got any official word back yet, but we'll see how that goes.
I heard about that.
But yeah, it's a possibility. But I do play for the Global Mixed Gender League right now that Master
Okay.
P started.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've played some exhibition games with them. Our next one is September 1st.
Where's that at?
That's in Miami. So September 1st in Miami. I know on I believe it's a 20-something, we're playing in Puerto Rico. So that'll be a big opportunity too. Other than that, I played.
Puerto Rico has good leagues down there, so it might be a little showcase for you.
I would love to.
Go out there and kill.
That would be a showcase. And play Venice Basketball League. I'm the only
Yep,
female
VBL.
to play with them. Yep, VBL. I played in Apple Valley League. I was the only girl. I started that. I don't know. It's been cool. Like, I've been playing with men.
Right.
I've always played with guys. That's what
You got there holding your own.
Yeah,
I heard you had a shot, man. I don't know, but that's what I heard.
It might be a
word
rumor.
on the pier, word on the Venice piers. You got a shot out there.
Something like that. Maybe a little jumper here and there.
Okay. They got to honor it, though, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not out there for nothing. You have to earn your place in Venice.
Exactly. So, I mean, that wraps up your basketball career. Anything you kind of want to, shout out? Any advice you want to give to the younger generation? Like, any last words you want to throw in there before we wrap it up?
I mean, I would just say to listen to people that care about you. They're really looking out for you and keeping your best interests in their heads. But if I would have never listened to the people that believed in me, I would never be where I was at. I would still be in the same hometown doing the same thing as everybody else that regrets not leaving. So I'm glad that I did kind of allow them to make a mark in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying just listen to everything, your parents say or anything like that, but just know when somebody cares about you and really take that in and, treat it with love, because love is the strongest thing ever. So there's going to be a lot of people giving you hate, giving you doubt, criticizing you. But the people that do care about you are there for a reason.
Right.
God put them in your lives for a reason. And I think that if you really tune into that positive side of it, continue to work hard, chase your dreams. I don't care if your dream is to be a mime. Or those people that
I got you.
I don't care what it is.
Trapped in a box.
If that's what you want to do, chase those dreams. Like, there's people out here that are so talented, but they're just scared of success. So just believe in yourself, and when the right opportunity comes, because it will, just chase after it and do your best at all times. You never know who's looking. That's the one thing. It's like, you never know who's watching you. And that's really played out in my life. So I could be a personal, I vouch for that all the way.
Yeah.
I vouch for that, because you don't know. You don't know what is coming your way. So always be positive, always do the right thing. Look out for people, even if people aren't watching you. Do what you can, because we're only here for a short time. So treat everybody with respect, and care about the people that care about you, and chase your dreams, y'all.
Awesome. So we really want to thank you for having you in, taking time out. Anything you want to plug?
No.
Good.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad.
Hey, I gotta get them shout out.
Thank the Lord above. Thank you for taking the time to even interview me.
We appreciate you.
Yeah. So that's really it. I need to take a nap.
All right, nap time after those kids, right?
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you again for listening to Box Out Basketball. This has been Philip Brown with Deja Mattox. Thank you.